to all the dispossessed youth of Africa, for perpetuation of communion with ancestral spirits through the fight for African freedom, and in the firm faith that the dead, the living, and the unborn will unite to build the destroyed shrines. Selah. Hello and welcome, beloveds, to another episode of Wake Up Africa. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray that you are well in all your ways and that you're moving into living life truly on your own terms. We really want to thank every single person that has subscribed to the channel. We appreciate love each and every one of you. Thanks to everyone that supports us on Patreon. Beloveds, if you really want to know some of the stories that are being censored right now, go ahead and consider joining our Patreon family and really consider following those, finding and following those alternative voices, beloveds, because knowledge right now is the currency of the future. You know, knowledge is power. And so those in power are controlling the knowledge so that they control you. It's that simple. And that's why everything has been done the way it has been done, to kind of make you addicted, to their knowledge, to their systems of information, so that and almost it makes you lazy to look for alternative news, alternative voices. So there's amazing alternative news out there, beloveds. Make sure that you're supporting those channels, supporting those people as much as possible so that they can continue to bring the truth, because it's not even just about sharing the truth, but these acts as darts into the enemy's camp, and they have so much power, and so many of our people are awakening and are hungry for this information, but this information is being bottled up, and then there's a lot of false information that is kind of being overlaid stories for other days. But I've been having just disturbing visions, beloveds, that I wanted to share with you about the armies of this world. Why would Babylon make sure that every single country in Africa had an army, and every single country in the world had an army? And then nearly all those armies have participated in what will one day be the global army, the UN peacekeeping force. What if the armies, beloved, are actually the police of the future? Not even and the future is now. Because it was so disturbing how quickly the army was rolled out in South Africa. And how they tried to make it sound like, we'll just deploy 2,500, The next thing, they're deploying 25,000. I think that's the number it reached. And how they went back into those shanty towns and took the little things that people had stolen away from them, I think the police did that. But still, just how quick they rolled out the army, and how quickly mainstream media made it seem like it was normal. It was just like it was a massive red flag in my mind. Let me know if you felt the same way. I mean, we all know, especially, our family in the divided states, how quickly the FEMA camps have been set up. We've all seen the videos of the trucks, thousands or hundreds and hundreds of trucks being moved into different, by train into different parts of the divided states. But what if the armies of the world, beloved, are actually the police of tomorrow? And that's why they were created. Because you see, one thing we have to understand about Babylon doesn't create something for now. They don't do something for now. They do something for the future. Because their whole thing is wizardry and spells, beloved. Because they understand, first things happen spiritually. If you dictate things spiritually, it must manifest physically. And so anything they're doing is not for now. If you're recognizing it now, it's not for now. It's just like colonization was never about conquering Africa. It was about getting our children and ensuring that the cultural domination happened. By the time they left, they knew they weren't leaving. They weren't going nowhere. That's why they pretended to leave. It was all about entrapping our children mentally while you pretended to be trying to colonize physically. Beating the people down physically so you could access their children's minds and totally clone them in a generation. Because when I see our children going to school, they're just like Muzungu clones. Poor versions too, because our schools don't even, you know. Anyway, I could talk about schools all day long. But beloveds, what if armies were created back in the day so that they could be the police of tomorrow or the police of today, like for real, for real? Because they're just, it just looks, it's just so simple. When you see it, you see it. Because everything has been done to portray the policeman as this corrupt, and most of the time he is, this corrupt individual, this low-level being. They've never been elevated or held up. So it would be it was so easy for Ramaphosa to just be like, okay, police, army is coming to assist the police. But it was more like the police can't do it, so the army is coming in. But what if the army is the police of tomorrow, beloveds? Because why does every country need an army? And I know you guys keep saying Africa needs one army, but with the way they're trained, these aren't even armies, beloved. They are like, and they've all been trained by Babylon, and they all have the same name, which means they all carry the same frequency and energy. You can only be what your creator meant you to be. And sometimes we take the naive explanation that the creators of this particular system give us, like armies were created to protect national borders and to protect. Who is Africa fighting? And yet so much has been invested in these militaries, beloveds. And they wear the same uniform as the Babylonians. They look the same. They're trained either by the British, the Israelis, the Americans, the French, the Russians now. But what's been the intention of creating these armies and giving them all this money to protect Zimbabwe from Zambia, or, Malawi from its neighbors, or Kenya from Tanzania? Like, really? And the reason I share this is because that should tell you what time it is. The quickness with which they rolled out the army in South Africa should even just make you a bit more, like, I need to get my act together. I need to move out of the cities, or at least have a place where if sugar hits the fan, me and my family can go and live indefinitely for a year, 2 years, 3 years. Because the New World Order is going to be fully implemented by the armies of this world, beloveds. And the army, if you even look at how they've been trained, they weren't trained in, relationships. They've been oriented to be like killers. I mean, that's what armies do. You go and you defend your country against the enemy, and you do all kinds of things. But beloved, the New World Order is being run out, and the way we saw, because they try and normalize things that aren't normal, and no one has spoken out against the fact that the army had to be rolled out in South Africa. It's almost like, phew, at least they rolled out the army. And then you see all the images. You see, they try to normalize everything. Today it's South Africa. What if tomorrow it's half the world have their armies roaming in their streets? Is that why Macron has pulled back the army from Africa back to France? Because there's a major revolution about to take off. Like, Babylon doesn't do anything for today, beloveds. They're always planning for the future. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Tuko pamoja.